what dictates their social conduct within their professional group of activities? The answer is then the understanding the professional ethics. So in that profession, what is the ethical standard has to be followed. So when we are work in a group or stay in a group or move in a particular area, so we have to first understand what is the requirement of that particular institution or organization or the area or the system or the surrounding. So on that basis, this ethical guidelines has been evolved. The ethical conduct is usually spelled out as the best practices. तो हम बोलते हैं कि ये बहुत अच्छा लड़का है, ऐसा बोलेंगे जब अच्छा कैसे बोलते हैं, देर आर सर्टन रूल्स वट आर बीन फीड टू आवर माइंड. सो इफ द पर्सन इज जैसा फिल्मों में बोलते हैं ना, बड़ों का आदर, बड़ों का सम्मान करना चाहिए, छोटों को प्यार करना चाहिए, हम उम्र को अपनापन देना चाहिए, तो उसको हम अच्छा बोलते हैं. फिल्मी डायलॉग है, थोड़ा थोड़ा मैं फिल्मी डायलॉग कभी कभी यूज कर लेता हूँ, सॉरी. तो ये होता है कि ऐसा हम जो माइंड में फिट होता है, बट दिस थिंग्स आर कम फ्रॉम सर्टन बैकग्राउंड विथ सर्टन रिसर्च. द पीपल फाइंड आउट दैट इफ द पर्सन इज डूइंग such थिंग्स, so then that probability that is that that person will be a good person to carry out many things in that particular system. May not be applicable to all systems, but in that particular system that person may be. So that's why हम बोलते हैं कि ये अच्छा लड़का है, तो ऐसा होता है ना. तो इसलिए वो सिस्टम में क्या क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है उसके ऊपर होता है. सो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस इन दैट पर्टिकुलर सिस्टम, so they are mostly unwritten but followed in practice by all professionals. So in जैसा मैंने बोला है कि these are mostly unwritten rules. हम बचपन से सुनते 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 बड़े होते हैं, तो we feel that this is correct. So because we cannot analyze everything, because certain things when we had been told, we accept those things. Okay. And sometimes we analyze and find out that many things are not correct. So with time, certain things changes also. Okay. So we have to accept the new changes also. When violations exceeds the level of acceptable to the society, these desirable best practices were written down, not as laws but guidelines in letter and spirit. तो ये जो एथिकल चीजें होता है, हमने सुना रहेगा, समझा रहेगा, और देर आर बहुत सारा रहता है कि ये प्रैक्टिस हो रहता है, तो इसलिए हमको उसको करना पड़ता है और हम करते भी हैं. बट जब लगता है कि ये सही नहीं है, हम उसको वायलेट कर देते हैं. तो ये चीज नहीं है तो वायलेट कर देते. जब ये वायलेशन ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है, तो इन दैट टाइम्स देयर इज अ नीड दैट वी हैव टू डॉक्यूमेंट दिस थिंग्स. दैट्स व्हाई दिस हैज बिकम अ गाइडलाइंस देन. ठीक है. तो इसलिए गाइडलाइंस में पहले हो जाता है. अदरवाइज एथिक्स आर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, जो मोरल वैल्यूज होता है वो सब ही एथिक्स होता है. बट व्हेन जब हम वायलेट बहुत ज्यादा करने लगते हैं, तो दे मेक सर्टेन रूल्स और गाइडलाइंस टू बी फॉलोड. जैसे यहाँ पे ऐसा कि ड्रेस कोड्स कुछ रहता है, कुछ यहाँ पे टाइमिंग में रहता है, तो इतना टाइमिंग में आना चाहिए, लेट तो क्लास में एंटर नहीं करने देंगे, ऐसा कुछ कुछ गाइडलाइंस होता है ना. पर ऐसा नहीं है कि दीज गाइडलाइंस आर जस्ट गाइडलाइंस. तो इसको अगर हम आप कभी वायलेट करोगे तो आपके ऊपर शायद लॉ में कोई केस नहीं होता है, बट आपको लेटर एंड स्पिरिट में उसको फॉलो करना रहता है. नहीं तो आपके ऊपर कुछ एक्शंस हो सकता है. लॉज इसके ऊपर नहीं नॉर्मली आता है, पर आपके ऊपर एक्शन होता है कि आपको बोला जाएगा कि आपको हम क्लास में अंदर नहीं आने देंगे. ठीक है, इस तरह से. So majority of such guidelines have been evolved by professional societies, by organizations. There are international organizations also which propose this guidelines for various institutes and all. Every institute has their own guidelines also based out upon their requirements. Like in BRC, we work all who are now working in BRC. So your junior research fellows going to be JRFs in BRC. So there are certain guidelines which we should understand and we should have to follow. तो आपको पता है ना, बीआरसी डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एटॉमिक एनर्जी का पार्ट है. So it's a multi-cultural or multifaceted organization. So lot of different types of research we carry out here. So there are certain guidelines. Otherwise, that violations of this rules will be much more. So that's why every institute like BRC has formulated certain guidelines for practicing various ethical practices. So unlike this, in the case of laws, these ethical guidelines generally have no legal binding. मैंने जैसे बताया था कि these are not normally do not have normal legal binding, nor can be subject to judicial scrutiny or intervention. तो जुडिशियली आपके ऊपर कोई केस नहीं होगा, बट आपके ऊपर सर्टन एक्शंस हो सकते हैं। जैसा बीआरसी का जो गाइडलाइंस का अगर कुछ आप फॉलो नहीं करेंगे, तो ऐसा तो नहीं है कि अगर जब गाइडलाइंस बनाया गया है आपको ऐसे ही जस्ट बनाया गया है तो आपको फॉलो करना है, क्योंकि करने से ही हमारा इंस्टीट्यूट का जो बेनिफिट होगा वो होगा, आपको भी बेनिफिट होगा, इंस्टीट्यूशन का भी नाम खराब नहीं होगा, एंड इट विल बी अ गुड रेपुटेशन फॉर द इंस्टीट्यूट. So if you are not doing, that will not be legal action, but there will be some action from the institute also. That is a possibility. So these remain pious resolution and remain contingent to goodwill and conscience of individual and the society. So now you all will be doing research work in BRC. So there are some research and publication ethics we have to follow. तो ऐसा क्यों करेंगे वो भी उसके बारे में थोड़ा सा जान. सो रिसर्च जैसे डेफिनेशन तो आपने रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी क्लास में आपने ऑलरेडी देख लिया है. रिसर्च इज क्रिएटिंग न्यू नॉलेज. रिसर्च, so whatever is knowledge there, so there are some gap areas, and to fulfill that gap areas is nothing but research. ठीक है. It starts with defining the question, and there are various steps of research, from the finding out what is the problem to writing the report. आपको research methodology में आपको सर ने बताया होगा ना, the steps involved in research. थोड़ा बता, steps होता है. Starting क्या होता है? Finding the problem. और उसके बाद hypothesis. उसके बाद लिटरेचर सर्वे. लिटरेचर सर्वे के बाद designing. Then this actual research work will start. Okay, so then writing and all the things. So you आपको अच्छे से पता है तो फिर good. All these steps will have some ethical practices, and from the beginning to the end. So research and publication ethics are the principles governing responsible conduct of the research and trust towards the dissemination of its findings, promoting integrity, objectivity, and transparency throughout the research. So in all the steps of the research, we have to maintain the ethical standards, so that our work and we will not be questionable. Okay. So key components of this ethics include ensuring originality, proper authorship, honest reporting, and disclosure of conflict of interest while adhering to guidelines. So every institution have their own guidelines, like I have told. So in BRC also there are certain guidelines which I will be discussing now. So if you are maintaining all these things, so there will not be any problem during the whole research and publication part. Okay. So the core principles of research and publication ethics is integrity, objectivity, transparency, accountability, and carefulness. So integrity means upholding honesty and truthfulness in all all aspects of research, from data collecting to the reporting. And integrity means you have to maintain that truthfulness during your whole work. So if you are getting something, you have to tell that thing. Okay. And while because some examples I'll give you, like one of my senior, she was doing research on migratory birds. So used to go because there are the rare Siberian birds. Every season they used to come, and her job was to find out that particular types of rare birds, whether they are coming to India with change of season or not, change of years or not. So it's a long project. But thing is that whenever she used to see some bird, one or two birds, she used to report. But the research demanded that when she is seeing one bird or two bird, she should report little more numbers. Otherwise, it is not statistically significant. Statistics आपको थोड़ा पढ़ाया गया है ना? So for statistically significant things, the number of objects should be little higher. Otherwise, there will not be statistically significant numbers. So her seniors in that research project, they used to tell that if you have seen the birds and you have captured the birds, two birds you have seen, let us write 10 birds. So she was not agree. So she told that I'll leave this research, but I'll not report the wrong data because I have seen that is true. But yeah, I cannot write 10 in place of two numbers because I have seen two numbers only. So even if it is means not going to be statistically significant, but I have seen that only. So I cannot report 10 numbers. So finally, she has to leave that project. So we really appreciated her work, and now she has settled in a different project, and she has done quite nice. So we felt really nice that not breached the ethical standards, and she has stick to the standards. Otherwise, normal students, what will they will that? Okay, I have seen, I have taken the photograph, so let us write 10 in place of two numbers. But she has not done that. So she has stick to the ethical standard. So whatever here, the truthfulness is very important because otherwise the birds at the time maybe large number of birds were coming. Nowadays the numbers might have reduced. So this will be a finding also. If she would have presented that only two birds I have seen in this season, so it might have given the new some ideas that so like this, with your ethical standard also, we can research. But the finding may be little different. Okay. So, but whatever may be the reason, truthfulness is very much important. Okay. Next is objectivities, conducting research without any bias or presenting findings impartially. So whenever we are doing anything impartially, because like I'm telling the to the students, taking class for the students, so I have to be impartial. So similarly, whenever I'm doing a research and all, that also I have to be impartial. So I should not prefer somebody or somebody because if I'm having a 2 3 students under me, and one student is weak, student is doing very nice work, I should not take some work from the good student and give it to the weaker student. If the person is weak, it is weak. If the student is doing right nice, then it is nice. Okay, so I have to be impartial in that case also. So those things we have to maintain. And transparency, being open about research methods, data sources, potential conflict of interest. Conflict of interest आपको कुछ पता है क्या होता है? Anyone know what is conflict of interest? आपने सुना तो होगा ना? हाँ, क्या हो सकता है? गलत होगा तो कोई प्रॉब्लम? हाँ? क्या के? Yes. Okay, that is also good. और कोई कुछ बोल रहा था? Why? हाँ. Conflict of interest exactly वो नहीं है. हाँ बोलिए. हाँ. हाँ. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Very good. Nice example. So, and also during this, if I'm a reviewer, uh, and we are also working on similar. If I'll accept this paper, our paper will not be accepted. So what I'll do, I'll give one full example that also have a will happen. So there is a conflict of interest. This is as a reviewer, we have to be without any conflict of interest because My interest is not going towards that particular unbiased manner. So there is a conflict of interest in reviewing. And also there are many examples we'll discuss one by one during a course also. So we should be without any conflict of interest, and also transparency we have to maintain, accountability, taking responsibility for the accuracy and completeness of the research report. Whatever research work we are doing, we should be accountable. Okay. And also carefulness, adhering to high standards in conducting research to avoid mistakes and ensure participant safety. Because the safety and safety ensuring is very important whenever we are working. So we have to maintain all the best possible way to avoid any mistake in the research work, so that will uh, ensure the safety. Like this particular participant safety is more important when we are doing some social type of research. आपको बताया रहेगा ना रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी में देयर आर मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ रिसर्च इन व्हिच वी society collect data. So their integrity, those things are very much important. So their safety always. The mental safety measures to see that say all the participant safety is well maintained during whole research. So this also comes under ethical standards. Okay. So basically, these are the 5 things I have written: integrity, objectivity, transparency, accountability, and carefulness. There are maybe many more things. You may also add sometimes. Okay. So these are the core principles. So now I'll just tell about that our department. Department of we are working in Department of Atomic Energy. It is a premier scientific organization in India. Multidisciplinary research is carried out at various institutes under DAE. आपको पता है डीए में क्या क्या और इंस्टीट्यूट से? Anybody knows? Pardon? IG का, CAT, Saha Institute of Nuclear Physics, NISER. There are many NISER, na? ISER also, and NISER, Atomic Minerals Directorate, AIM, Nuclear Fuel Cycle, that NFC Hyderabad. So there are many institutes are under this Department of Atomic Energy, and we are one of them. So we do research in BRC and tell that this is a premier institute. So, and here we do research work, and whenever we do research, and we finally publish our works and tell the society or tell the nation that we are working on this particular field. तो आप सब भी JRF होके ज्वाइन करेंगे, तो you have to work, and if you are working on that particular subject, publish also. You cannot keep it that yes, I have worked and that is end of thing. At the end of your work, you have to tell the audience that we have worked and this is our findings. So we have to write and give the report. ठीक है? तो हम जब report करके दे देंगे, that will come to the public domain, and that public will judge our institute based on our reports. Okay. So whenever our work will be published, anybody in the world now can immediately search from Google's all Scopus. Everybody will come to know about our work. So the credibility of our department will lie on the shoulder of our research work. How we present the work. Okay. So if we are maintaining the ethical standard there for our institute. Okay. So our responsibility is also, because we are taking salary from our institute. So there is a responsibility of us that we should not. So we have to maintain good ethical standards for that. So reputation of the organization and institute and the credibility of scientific research rest on the quality and integrity of our publications. Hence, it is important to adhere to the highest ethical standards while publishing our research work. All scientists in DAE owe to themselves, their colleagues and their institute, the society, and the world scientific community at large to scrupulously abide by a code of ethics in letter and spirit. Means letter and spirit means we have to tell that yes, by words we are following it, and we also feel that we are following it. Not that we just write down and it's not a pen and pencil thing. Ethics is mostly वो फीलिंग एक्चुअली होना चाहिए कि मैं सही से कर रहा हूँ और वो क्यों कर रहा हूँ, सही से करने से क्या होगा। मैं जस्ट आपको बोल दिया कि मेरे डिपार्टमेंट का नाम खराब हो जाएगा, खराब होने दो, क्या फर्क, ये भी हो सकता है ना। इट्स नॉट लाइक दैट, वी आर वर्किंग इन अ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, वी शुड बी प्राउड, वी शुड नॉट फील दैट I am just taking salary and what will happen. No, many things can happen. I'll also feel good if I am doing right thing, and my department also now will have good name, my work. So I'm maybe a very small part of the full department, but my small mistake also can bring a bad name to my department. So code of ethics document in BRC is available. So I'll show you the front page of that thing. It's a small document. It is available in, आप लोग BRC से, आप तो BRC से ना, और कोई एम्प्लॉय है, एम्प्लॉय और कोई है नहीं, कोई बात नहीं. So in BRC BTS website we use our inside BRC. So in that we have a this document is there. So we normally follow that particular document which tells about the ethical practices which we have to do in BRC. So this is applicable to all other institutes also, and every all other organizations also, they may have their own set of guidelines like this. So this is the front page of the site. It takes that code of ethics for publications, Bhabha Atomic Research Center. So it has 6 points: preamble, applicability of ethical principles, etc. And last we have to take a oath that I'll abide to all the guidelines which have been given in this particular site. तो उसको हम थोड़ा थोड़ा अभी देखेंगे. So the preamble says that whatever I have told for DAE, the same thing they have written here. Bhabha Atomic Research Center is a premier multidisciplinary research center under Department of Atomic Energy. The researchers at all levels pursue scientific and technological activities in a harmonious and fair atmosphere. The research and development activities carried out at BIRC result in publications and of papers and reports in national and international journals, newsletters, newspapers, conference, symposiums, etc. The reputation of the institute and the credibility of the scientific research rest on the quality and integrity of our publications. Hence, it is important to adhere to the highest ethical standards while publishing research work. All scientists in BRC owe it to themselves, their colleagues, their institute, the society, and the world scientific community at large to scrupulously abide by a code of ethics in letter and spirit. तो जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, हमारा कुछ कुछ लिखा गया है, तो लिखा गया है इसका मतलब ये नहीं सिर्फ लिखा है, हमने इसको जस्ट दिया तो एथिक टेलिंग और एथिक्स, वी हैव टू फील दैट, अदरवाइज ऐसा कुछ एथिक्स ऐसा है कि नहीं है. तो हर टाइम में हम सही भी नहीं होते हैं, कभी कभी गलती भी होती है, इंसान है तो गलती भी हो सकती है, but we try our best to maintain the all the ethical standards as much as possible. तो आपको रेडिएशन फिजिक्स वगैरह हेल्थ फिजिक्स टाइप का कुछ कोर्सेस है, आलारा पढ़ाया गया है. हाँ, उसमें आलारा एक वर्ड आपको बताया गया था क्या? आलारा क्या होता है? अचीवेबल. इसलिए हम भी कोशिश करेंगे कि ethical mistake हो सकता है कभी हमसे, बट उसको एज रीजनेबली अचीवेबल हम लोग करेंगे. ठीक है, आप करते हो बिल्कुल ही नलीफाई कभी कर देंगे, मोटो होना चाहिए. ठीक है. So this particular document in BRC BTS site, this document identifies what is considered as ethical misconduct in the context of publications. This tells about mostly the research publication part. So whenever we are doing any particular research, I told that at the end we have to publish it, because we cannot hide all our research work from the community. But yes, certain confidential work that we have to tell to that particular means agency only. For everything we cannot tell to the whole world. But whenever we are doing an open type of research like you all will be doing, so we'll be working on particular area and we have to publish it and tell to the world that we are working in that, and these are the findings. Because we'll research जब करेंगे हमने कुछ gap areas पहले देखेंगे ना, In that gap areas only will work. And in that gap areas, how to solve those gap areas, that will be the motto of our research. So we have to tell the public so that some new researcher may take up similar works. So it is expected that the document will undergo various revisions from time to time. As I told that ethics is a evolving subject. What is right at present may be little revised at after certain time. Okay, with the evolvement of the society, because this ethics are mostly conducted with the external surroundings. I told, है ना? तो बाहर से हमको सब कुछ देख के आई मे बी फील समथिंग इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट, बट होता है कि सराउंडिंग के हिसाब से हमको वो करना पड़ता है, ठीक है ना? तो उसको इसलिए एथिक्स होता है कि एक्सटर्नल जो इफेक्ट्स होता है, इट टेक्स केयर ऑफ दोज थिंग्स आल्सो. सो विथ चेंजिंग सोसाइटी एंड चेंजिंग टाइम, that may also evolve. So with time, whatever guidelines is present, the core value will be same only, but with certain changes may occur with time. Okay, जैसा मैं आपको एक हाथ चीजें बताता हूँ. पहले होता था when we were in BRC, so many vehicles were allowed inside BRC. So the people from the ethics part, but with time, how the things changes, I'm telling. So people were taking vehicles to the, and they used to for having lunch in a colony, and then after they again they go for work. So with time has been found that many people are taking misadvantage of this. So they have allowed these vehicles because that office after they're having lunch. So they have to, after certain time, there is also some security threat and all. So they have stopped the vehicles. So nowadays we cannot take any electric or motorized vehicle inside VRC campus. So that with time, certain things are changing because certain things they have observed, things they have feel that no, it is getting not going as per the requirement. They stopped vehicles inside BRC. There are a lot of means confusion, means how the people will manage with only buses, how people will go. But nowadays it's vehicle official vehicles only. There is no personal vehicles we are not taking. Similarly, there is timings also. Earlier, timings were not that much fixed. When I joined in 1997-98, this iPad punching system was not there. So we used to go to the office that whatever we'll write the right time. But it has been found that many persons are coming at 11 o'clock and they are writing 9:30. So, uh, and sometimes they are going at 4 o'clock and they are writing 6:30. So, like it has been found that means I don't know when they will find that the number of violations increases much more, they have to punch the card. So, the timings are noted also. Okay, so with time, certain things changes. So this is the last topic, but I thought that I'll share that with time, many things changes, and we have to accept it, and we have to accept the society's guidelines. Okay. So this is the form. This is having the lecture in that particular code of conduct. Here, whenever we are sending any work for publication, we have to write down the manuscript, who is the corresponding or lead author from BRC, and what journal we are sending the things, and who are the authors and what are their contributions. Those things we have to write down in that, and we have to sign it and give it to our head of the division. This is the normal format. Many people are not following, maybe, but this is the normal format is available in BRC, and we all should follow this thing so that there will be accountability of the work, and whenever we are there will be some problem, and people can understand that what has been happened. So this will be a document. So Nick, this code of conduct in BRC in the specific, and it is applicable to all other institutes also. To whom it is applicable? It is applicable to everybody who is working in BRC. So code of ethics is applicable to all scientific technical publications where one or more authors are affiliated to BRC or DA. So whenever we, because whenever it is applicable to all other institutes, whatever institute is will be there, and they will have their own guidelines. It's one or many persons from that particular institute who will be author in a particular one. They have to follow their guidelines. Like in BRC, if one author also is there in that publication, he or she has to follow these guidelines. So the papers or articles in journals, conference, seminar, etc. It is applicable to them. It is also applicable to all the MTech, PhD, all the thesis, all the reports, monograph, book, whatever is published from BRC work, it is applicable to all. All serving employees are required to abide by the code of ethics. It is also applicable to those scientists who are enrolled as students of Homi Bhabha National Institute. So whenever you will be enrolled as HBNI students, it is applicable to you also. So other university students who are working in BRC, it is also applicable to them. Whenever there is a conflict of overlap between the code and prevailing laws, the provisions of the rules will apply. There are rules are there. What are the different rules? That also we'll see, and it is applicable to all who are working with BRC or DE. For other institutions also, it will applicable for their guidance set of guidelines. So what are the ethical principles? It has three ethical principles. First is the honesty and integrity. Like in the beginning, I have told that honesty we have to maintain during our full research work. The scientific honesty of our research and integrity of our publications impinge on the reputation and credibility of the authors, the institutes, and the scientific community as a whole. So whenever we'll do some mischief or something and we are caught, then our name will be bad. Not only our name, our institution name will be bad, and our scientific community name also will be bad. And everybody will point the finger that okay, this group of scientists are doing some misconduct. So nowadays, with so much of internet, everybody comes to know within very fraction of seconds also. So if something happens here, and I cannot hide those things, so it will be available to all of the world. So the name, for a good name to earn, it takes very long time, and the name will be broken within very small fraction of second. And for 30 years I maybe worked very nicely, and full ethics I have done, and I have got a good reputation. And after one some mistake, and everybody will do swine is doing some mischief, so they will not understand that 30 years I have done some good work, and due to some mistake something has happened. No, because now everybody will people will remember that this people is doing mischief, because that is easier to point out. Okay. Hence it is imperative that publication report only original research work carried out by authors, and provide citations and attribution whenever necessary. So here I'll tell that whenever we are working, so that's why literature survey is very much important. So from the literature survey, we'll come to know that whether the work has been carried out or not, because we have to work on some original things, original research work only we have to publish. Whereas nowadays also plagiarism test is there, so they can easily find out what is plagiarized. गानों में फिल्में देखते हो? हाँ, कॉपीराइट वगैरह होता है ना, तो फिल्में गाने मैं थोड़ी फिल्में ज़्यादा देखता हूँ तो क्या होता है, बहुत सारे मेरे फेवरेट सॉन्ग्स है जो मुझे आजकल पता चलता है कि पूरी तरह से कॉपीड है, पूरी तरह से कॉपीड, मीन्स म्यूजिक भी कॉपीड, और इंग्लिश गाना को बस कन्वर्ट करके हिंदी किया गया है। तो और कुछ तो गाना तो हिंदी भी नहीं, कंप्लीट हिंदी को ही हिंदी किया गया है। नो मीन्स आई हैव सीन दैट पुराना आशिकी मूवी में एक तू मेरी जिंदगी है गाना था, वो पूरी गाना कॉपीड है। Earlier it was sung by a Begum Akhtar or some lady in Pakistan. Now it has come to a Hindi movie. So they have completely copied the things. Okay. So these are complete violation. So copyright violation is there. तो इसीलिए ये हम क्या होता, some examples I'll give you. Earlier, some people used to go to outside countries for some postdoctoral fellowship. So from there, they used to see that what is the working area, and some other colleagues are working on first type. And there are certain journals which are not open to, that time internet was not there. Okay, so we used to see what is published in that particular main journals. So there are some African journals were there where they used to publish in some other countries. And I have heard, I have not exactly seen what has been done there. I have example that, but he has worked and published in an African journal, and this person has worked here and published in a local journal. Huh? Same thing, because here that African journal is available, not available, and in Africa, Indian journal was not available. Internet was not there, so they were easily going to outside and they are copying the things, and here they are publishing. So these type of complete, nowadays things have changed much, because nowadays plagiarism softwares are available in internet and everything is means harmonized. Earlier this type of were not there. So doing this step, I have means heard, I have not confirmed it, but the person who has told me, definitely the person has told me the right thing, that this type of things were happening earlier days. So this is a completely ethical misconduct. Okay, so people should not do that. A scientist or an engineer in BRCDA must be very judicious in choosing a journal for publication of his or her work, keeping in mind that reputation of the BRC, which is of paramount importance. Like whenever we are looking, we have to, I told that we have to publish in journals, and we have to select the journal also. There are many journals, which are some journals are there. Paid journals publication is not allowed mostly in BRC, but sometimes with some help people publish there, because they take the then want some BRC names, so they accept whatever paper you send. So that journal may not be that much suitable for BRC reputation. So as a say, BRC person or a DA scientific person, we should avoid that type of things. Okay, so we have to select a journal which is good for in our particular area of research, not that just to increase the number of papers. Okay. So next one is the fairness. Research in BRC is conducted either individually or with a informal collaboration. Sometimes we do informal collaboration, like I know him, I'll do that, you do some of my work, and I'll include you as a author. So these type of things are very common, because informal collaboration is very much, because here everything we cannot have for our research work. We may require different types of things. So we collaborate and we do the thing, and we should be fair while writing down the reports in our groups. So to be fair to others in the collaboration, each individual participating in a given collaboration shall ensure that sharing of data outside the collaboration is done in a manner not prejudicial to the interest of the collaboration. So it should be fair enough to give all the credit to all the persons who are collaborating in that particular area of research. Any employee who is designated as a faculty of HBNI must ensure that every paper should carry the affiliation of HBNI in or her his or her publication, in addition to the BRC DI affiliation. Like I am working in BRC Analytical Chemistry Division. I am also a professor in Homi Bhabha Institute. So whenever I am publishing a paper, I should give a dual affiliation, because I am getting some responsibility from BRC. I am also getting responsibility from HBNI. So I have to give my dual affiliation, that I'm working in BRC also, I'm affiliated to Homi Bhabha National Institute also. So this is our responsibility. BRCDI invests a significant resource to procure various specialized equipments, and every major equipment or an information source, like various softwares are there installed in BRCDI, expected to be shared in collegial spirit with colleagues who have the background to operate the equipment and require access for that particular research, as long as such access does not impede the original purpose for which the equipment has been purchased. So there are many equipments, many softwares are available in BRC, which has to be shared by many others. Okay, so there will be proper sharing has to be done. If I am purchasing something, I should not make it very specific to my only. because if I'm opening to everybody, somebody may come and spoil that instrument. So the main purpose for which that instrument is there, that may also get spoiled. But if somebody is competent enough to work in that particular instrument, I should not obstruct that particular person to work on that particular instrument or facility or the software, whatever is available. So increasingly, papers are being published with contributors from a large number of authors specializing in different fields. An individual author may have only limited of what appears to be in the paper. Like that, whenever we are doing a research paper, I told that we do many collaborations, persons, and we all the names are coming in the author list. If some problem has been occurred during the publication part, all the authors may not be knowing what exactly what happened to the full work, because they have done their own part. So all the persons may not be responsibility to the equal extent for that publication. So each person has contributed to which area, that we have to mention in each publication. Nowadays in every good publication, they are telling that what is the contribution of the authors, because they have many fields, like who has guiding, who is having the managerial thing, who is doing the experimental thing, who is doing the interpretation thing, who is having the data analysis thing. So all these parts we have to tick. If person is involved in everything we can tick. If the person has only seen the final manuscript verification, that only we can take. So the thing means misconduct happens sometimes, and all the persons will not be responsible to all the extents. So in that particular area where the misconduct has been done, that person should be made responsible. Whenever, as my personal feeling, I'll tell that whenever you are contributing to any paper, make yourself responsible, so that if I told that these are guidelines, but some things has to be feeling will be there. अगर मैं किसी पेपर में पार्ट फील करना चाहे कि ये काम क्या है, मैंने सिर्फ डेटा एनालिसिस करके दे दिया, तो दैट विल नॉट बी सफिशिएंट. Whenever I am a part of a publication or a paper, I should understand that किसके लिए मैंने काम किया है. पूरी तरह से शायद समझ में नहीं आता है, but as much as possible we should be involved in that particular part. ठीक है, जस्ट 2 मिनट और पहला क्लास हो जाएगा. Next is the third part in that area is the confidentiality. All authors should ensure that the publication do not contain any classified information in the form of text, drawings, specifications, graphs, etc. Here in BRC and or especially in DAE, there are a lot of confidential work also being carried out. So we should not, whatever if somewhere something has been told that this is confidential work, we should not make it public. Authors should ensure that publication do not compromise confidential and privileged information belonging to a third party. Like in a social type of research, if third party is involved, their confidentiality also we have to maintain. Okay. In case of publications involving classified and confidential information in the form of text, drawings, etc., it is the responsibility of the authors to obtain the necessary approval as per the existing rules. But because there are certain areas like in BRC and DA, plutonium we consider as a very much confidential things. But people are also working on the chemical properties of plutonium, because this can be open to our general public. So that type of work, when they have to take the necessary the approval that this I am not doing any confidential work. This can be go to the and the proper authority give the permission to publish. So you have to, whenever you are slightly, you have to take permission from the authority. Okay. So this confidentiality things we have to maintain during our research. So this is the end of my first class. Maybe after 2-3 minutes or 5 minutes I can continue, or maybe if you are agreeing I can continue also. ब्रेक चाहिए? ठीक है. जनरल टॉपिक. हाँ. तुम्हारा तो वो हाँ.
तो जो मैं इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्शन में हूँ, हमारा दो पार्ट है, इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्शन में मेडिकल सेक्शन. इंडस्ट्रियल में जो इंडस्ट्री में सोर्सेस यूज हो रहा है, रेडिएशन होता है उसको हम लोग कहते हैं। और जो हमारा मेडिकल सेक्टर है वो हॉस्पिटल में जहाँ पे हॉस्पिटल में आपको मालूम ही है यूज हो रहा है कैंसर की न्यूक्लियर मेडिसिन डायग्नोस्टिक ये सब हम लोग देखता हूँ
इंडस्ट्रियल
इंडस्ट्रियल में जैसे कि GRF गामा रेडिएशन पॉलिसी यहाँ पे इरेडिएट किया जाता है गामा चेम्बर यहाँ पे
यूनिवर्सिटी में हाँ हाँ
इसके बाद हमारा इंडस्ट्रियल रेडियो
लिस्ट वगैरह पूरा है, अपडेटेड है, थोड़ा थोड़ा लिस्ट वगैरह सब है पूरा अभी अपडेटेड, कहाँ पे कितना है सोर्सेस वगैरह।
इंडस्ट्रियल रेडियोग्राफी है, न्यूक्लियर गेजेस है जो कि इंडस्ट्रियल सोर्सेज एंड ऑयल लॉगिंग भी है जहाँ पे ऑयल एंड नेचुरल गैस डिटेक्शन के लिए न्यूट्रॉन सोर्स है ये सब हमारा सेक्शन का काम है। इंस्पेक्शन भी करना क्वार्टरली अभी पहले क्वार्टरली वंस था अभी एवरी ईयर 2 क्वार्टर मतलब 1 क्वार्टर में आपको एक बार दे रहा है तो 1 वीक के लिए आपको
अच्छा लग रहा है।
यहाँ पे थोड़ा एक्सपोजर ज़्यादा है।
हाँ हाँ
थोड़ा एक्सपोजर ज़्यादा है उससे थोड़ा मारने का छोटा सा इतना एक्सपोजर नहीं था जहाँ जितना आपको इसलिए मैं सोचे कि थोड़ा सा
हाँ बक्से चल रहा
मोटे कॉलर पर भी हमने किसी में इंस्टॉल किया है
है।
तो वहाँ पे फ्यूचर में भी PhD थोड़ा कुछ करके सिंपोजियम वगैरह ये सब मैं अभी आगे से कर तो आगे की वो
केमिस्ट्री से कर रहे हो या फिजिक्स से?
फिजिक्स मेरा
फिजिक्स में ना,
मेरा
फिजिक्स से हाँ।
और यहाँ पे तो वहाँ पे मैं एक्सीलरेटर में करता था यहाँ पे हमारे इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर में एक्सीलरेटर भी है जो कि यूनिवर्सिटी में सारा एक्सीलरेटर जैसे
हाँ हाँ हाँ
और आयु का है और एक्सीलरेटर जो कि BSc के अंडर में नहीं है वो
ओके
ERV के अंडर में
एडवर्ड
है तो हमारे सेक्शन में ही है तो मैं उसका रेगुलेशन वगैरह में भी सब
अरे वाह गुड
तो वो चीज़ एक एडवांटेज हुआ कि वहाँ पे हम एक्सीलरेटर में काम करता था तो यहाँ पे एक्सीलरेटर के ऊपर रेगुलेशन में
गुड गुड गुड
एक्सीलरेटर एक्सीलरेटर के ऊपर यहाँ पे डॉक्यूमेंट भी एक नया बना के दिया जो कि
ओके गुड
थोड़ा ज़्यादा है
बहुत
ज़्यादा है और भी आप ज़्यादा कर सकते हैं तो इन फ्यूचर में भी मैं शायद कर सकता हूँ
गुड गुड
कोई होने जाता है सेक्शन में कौन है
रमन सर रिटायर्ड हो गए।
है सुकुमार सर है और सुनीता मैडम कोई नया ब्रांच
नहीं सर
एक्सीलरेटर चल
चलो हम लोग थोड़ा कम ही जाते हैं।
देखा तो उनका साइड पे देखा तो सर को लेकर रहता है नॉट ए सेक्शन है
नहीं नहीं
मेरे आने के बाद कोई वहाँ पे ज्वाइन
दूसरे सेक्शन में है। लास्ट दोनों साल ज्वाइन किए हैं, लास्ट ईयर भी ज्वाइन किए हैं, उससे पहले साल भी ज्वाइन किए हैं एक्सीलेटर। सब लोगों ने साइन कर लिया? ठीक है। सो वेलकम बैक। स्टार्ट करें फिर से, जल्दी खत्म करने की कोशिश करेंगे। In my previous class, we have discussed about ethics in general, and in the first section, we have seen that what is the ethics to be followed: honesty, integrity, fairness, and confidentiality. These are the three basic things we have to follow whenever we are going for a publications in a particular research work. So we'll continue from that. The next part is the code. What are the code of ethics we have to maintain? So in the code of ethics, first thing comes is the authorship. So I told you that whenever we work for a particular work in a particular research program, we cannot single-handedly publish the things, because many persons also, many senior person publish single author papers, but normally nowadays it requires a lot of specialized things, like whenever I am doing a working on radiochemical chemistry, radiochemistry and radiochemical separations. So yeah, I'm doing a separation thing, and I require somebody who will do the theoretical calculations also. So if theoretical calculation I cannot do, I don't have that much expertise in theoretical chemistry. So I need the help of a theoretical theoretician. So that person's name has to be there. And nowadays I don't get much time to do work. So my colleagues will be doing. So one or two colleagues will be there. So they are working. So and also somebody for characterization of that particular material. I told that unofficial collaboration should do division to characterize that particular material. So that person is also involved in that particular work. So that person also will be a co-author. So there may be many persons working in that particular area. So what are the way to do the justice to the all the authors? So authorship is very much important whenever we are going for a publication. So first part in the code of ethics is the authorship. So each of the listed authors shall have contributed truly and substantially to the publications. It is inappropriate to offer guest authorship to anyone who has not made significant contributions. It is also unethical to exclude anyone who deserves to be an author, including those who had hence retired. So, thing is that if it happens many times that we include some senior person's name without their knowledge. Also, people include their name to have a good name in our paper. Because if I'm uh, working in a particular division and some senior person is there, if their name will be there, that probability of publication becomes more. So sometimes people add their names also without even telling sometimes. So this is not an ethical practice, and the person who contributed to the work, giving just a gift authorship is also not good. If the person is reading the manuscript and suggesting changes, because a senior person cannot come to the lab and work along with the all the things, and what are the things can be modified. Their names, it's okay, but just because to please somebody and all, it is better not to give some gift authorship to persons who are not okay. Similarly, I might I'm not satisfied with while writing the manuscript. I'll just omit because I'm not due to some personal things. I'm not favoring that particular person. So I'm omitting that particular student's or person's name. This is also not ethical. So we should not omit any person's name. That is unethical, definitely. And also, whenever we are working in a group and some person has contributed, but during that course of publication to the work should be given in the publication who has really contributed to the work, not to any persons who has not contributed. And we should not omit also who has contributed, but not in that particular area of research now. So many times we give XBRC also, the persons who has retired, we give the authorship also. It is further it is unethical that I have told. The order of authorship is also important, because whenever you will for chemistry students, I know that three publications are important. Chemistry JRFs, whenever you will be submitting your manuscript, you will be having many more also, but three is essential. For physics and biology, it may be different. I am not very sure. But for chemistry, I know that it is three first author papers are essential. So that order of authorship also is also important, because if the person is working, if they are getting the first authorship, it will be counted. And if the person has contributed but some other person is the first author, that paper may not be counted in your category. So at least dual nowadays dual first authorship is also acceptable. So in the beginning they have to mention that the both the persons has contributed equally for that particular work. So dual for the first authorship is also valid. So order of authorship also very much important. Not very much, it's quite important, because if one person has contributed immensely, but due to some favorism, I have put some other persons as the first or second author, and that the person who has contributed maximum, I have put as a fourth author. Because I can always justify that you have contributed and have kept your name, but fourth author in that particular list may not be significant. I agree that every person's contribution is significant towards the work, but order of authorship is also important. The person who is doing the maximum work, that person should get the first or the second authorship at least. Okay. like the who is will be the corresponding authors. Sometimes there is a some discussion who will be the corresponding author. So in that manner, the order of authorship as well as the corresponding authors, because who has formulated the particular work, that person should get the corresponding author normally. Okay. What constitutes a significant contribution and what an appropriate authorship order may vary widely from subject to subject. Researchers should familiarize themselves with the standards in that field and the criteria laid down by the journal to which their work is going to be submitted. So this is all about authorship. Next one is the plagiarism. Plagiarism, I have already told in the beginning little. So we should not copy and paste the things. Okay. The publication shall be original work of the author and shall not reproduce the someone else's idea, words, result, data, graphs, drawings, etc. We should not copy. हम Google से कुछ copy कर हमको अच्छा लगा copy करके हमारा manuscript में paste नहीं कर सकते. That is a plagiarized work. So whenever it is there, all original work also only has to be presented. Some few examples I'll give, which is very common in our field. We do work on synthesis of material and application for various separation processes. This is I'm from a chemistry background. So, my work is that. So we develop some certain materials which will be applicable for develop certain toxic metal ions or radionuclides or something like that. So that materials first we okay. So then we test with certain things, and during voice now it is oh, IT person is not there. Okay, no problem. I have had a particular material and characterized it, and then I have used for arsenic separate removal in the beginning. And during the things the process, I have seen that okay, this particular material is also able to remove uranium from the some water. So my first work is completed with arsenic, and the second work I am working for arsenic. Then that uranium and what are the interference? All the separate work I have done. But in the beginning, I have synthesized the material and characterization I have done. So I have prepared. I have done the work. I have characterized the thing, and I am doing for another application. So what I'll do, whatever I published in the first paper, characterization part, that I'll copy in the second paper. This is not allowed. This is plagiarized. Self-plagiarism is also not allowed. Okay. So if I have done for application of uranium, I have to again synthesize, again I have to characterize. The photograph may look similar, but it will be not the same photograph I cannot reproduce for the different work. Okay, if I am doing for the similar work, I have to repeat the characterization for that work again. Okay, so self plagiarism also not allowed. That also we have to keep it in mind. Okay. हाँ हाँ कोट करके दे देंगे, पर वो फिगर आप नहीं दे सकते ना, क्योंकि कैरेक्टराइज में ज्यादातर होता है कि एसीएम टीएम डेटा हमको फोटोग्राफ देना पड़ता है. तो फोटोग्राफ आप दे नहीं सकते, आप पहले कर सकते हैं. वी हैव डन द थिंग्स एंड कैरेक्टराइज द थिंग्स दैट रेफरेंस नंबर लगा के यू कैन पुट दैट थिंग, but that will that t without tmmh or acmmh your second paper publication probability will go down. Okay, so again you have to do the thing and you have to do the characterization. You may get similar pictures but not the same. It will be a different one. Okay, so that is allowed, but just copy and paste, that is not allowed. Okay. In the context of scientific publishing, plagiarism can involve unattributed lifting of textual material, scientific ideas, and actual research results. The most extreme example would be a deliberate attempt to pass off someone else's entire research project to one's own. Like I have told that some African journals, they have copied completely and published in a Indian journal. So this is a complete plagiarism. However, it can also involve deliberate and unintentional incorporation of some ideas or results of other researchers without proper attribution or acknowledgements within one's own research publications. Sometimes that's why I told them in the beginning the literature survey is very much important, because sometimes we feel that we have tackled a new problem and we are working on that, and within 3 4 months we have got a very good solution, but somebody might have worked in the similar field and they might have produced the similar idea in the beginning. So if I have not done the proper literature survey, uh, my paper will be a plagiarized one, because that will be unintentional. I might not have seen that particular paper, but sometimes worldwide my mind also idea can be matched with some other ideas also, that is possibility is there, no? That's why in the beginning thorough literature survey is very much important. आप जब JRF join करोगे तो in the beginning first year there will be a OGC, oral general comprehensive examination. So in that they will ask you about the what are the literatures available and whether you have gone through the literature properly or not. Then only you will go for the actual research work. Okay, so because understanding the what are the things people have done, that is very much important. आपको बताया रहेगा ना कि रिसर्च में अदर्स वर्क का क्या इंपॉर्टेंट रहता है, फाइल राइटिंग डाउन एंड ऑल. थोड़ा सा रिसर्च मेथोडोलॉजी में पढ़ाया था ना सर ने? पढ़ाया था या मैं पढ़ाऊंगा अभी? ठीक है, जो भी मैं भी कभी कभी भूल जाता हूँ मुझे क्या क्या पढ़ाना है आगे. So when a limited amount of textual material from someone else's paper is needed to be included, it must be clearly enclosed within quotation marks and source explicitly cited. So with reference we can give, and we cannot copy the full sentence from that particular thing, and we have to paste in that particular our research work, because nowadays we do copy paste. Invariably we do copy paste, because अगर हम research out रहे हैं और रिजल्ट्स डिस्कशन में we feel that this person's work we have to cite, we copy that particular sentence and लिख के हम डाल देते हैं, रेफरेंस डाल देते हैं. this is not sufficient. it will also be plagiarized one. okay, तो क्या करना है उस काम को थोड़ा पैराफ्रेजिंग करना पड़ेगा. आप तो आजकल इसमें चैट जीपीटी में चेंज भी कर सकते हैं, बट नाउडेज चैट जीपीटी दैट इज आल्सो गेटिंग कॉट. आप क्या कर सकते हैं उसमें भी पता चल जाता है कि चैट जीपीटी से कितना हुआ है. बट एक्चुअली so you have to first understand that what person has done and how my work is different or superior or inferior to that. So I can rephrase that particular sentence and include in my research work with a reference. Whenever we are putting some other's work, we have to give the reference. Alternatively, text may be paraphrased with a general indication of where the concepts originated. Occasional reordering or substituting words is not sufficient. Sometimes in the beginning of this plagiarism things, what happened, five words combination they used to caught in the plagiarism. So one word we used to change. Nowadays that is also getting caught. So earlier we used to say that okay, the red mark is from this to this. In that 5 word, one word we have to change. तो वन वर्ड सिनोनिम करके हम रिप्लेस कर देते थे. आजकल वो भी कट हो जाता है. ठीक है, पर हम करते थे, नहीं करना चाहिए, कभी कभी हम करते हैं. दैट इज नॉट गुड. बट समटाइम्स व्हाइल राइटिंग ना वी कॉपी करके उसको मॉडिफाई करते हैं. तो दिस, but as a principle we should understand the things and write on our own language. So the recommended procedure is to read and understand the source material and express the ideas in one's own word. Beside textual material, the incorporation of ideas, figures, graphs from the source in a manner that conveys a false impression that they are original amounts to plagiarism. So other things we cannot just copy and paste in our research output. Okay. And sometimes during presentation we can include some of the figures for comparison, but there also we have to mention that I have taken from this source for comparison. It will not be a publication, but for showing in the presentation things, sometimes during oral presentation we take certain data from the literature also we show, but with the reference that this has been taken from this particular source. Okay, that is allowed. And next one is the duplicate publications. when a paper is submitted to a one journal, it is unethical to submit the same paper or another paper with the same content to another journal as long as the first paper is under consideration for publications. So this type of things happened sometimes. The person has sent one particular paper for publication in a particular journal. It was getting delayed for more than 6 months. So, but it was a good journal, so little लालचीपन भी था. So, so that person has sent that particular to another journal, and both the things got accepted in the same time. So this is a plagiarism. So whenever one paper has been submitted to a particular journal, that time we should not send that publication to another journal for publication. So this is a duplicate publication. Duplicate publication is not accepted. The duplicate publication refers to the unethical practice of submitting the same research results to two or more journals. The same paper or the paper with nearly similar content can be submitted to another journal only after the first paper is withdrawn by the authors. So whenever your paper gets rejected also, my boss told that you have to tell the editor that we are retracting or we are withdrawing that paper. After your review, that normally what happened after rejection of particular paper from a journal, we send it to immediately to another journal. So this is not also actual ethical practice. We have to first take it, withdraw that paper from that particular journal, and then only you have to submit for another journal. This also applies to reproduction of one's own earlier published paper results in part or in full in a new publication. So own plagiarism also we have to avoid. This should be specifically identified and acknowledged to avoid charges of ethical misconduct. Whenever we quoting our own thing also, we have to tell that this particular work, I have taken my own work which has been like this. And next one is the data manipulation. So generating, recording, publishing false or manipulated data are unethical practice. Like I told one of my colleague that a friend who has done that bird thing, na. So she had seen two birds, and she was asked to write down. She has seen for 10 birds. So like that, she has not done that. So generating and recording false data is not accepted. It is a data manipulation. This includes false statements and deliberate distortion of facts and observation. Fabrication, falsification, and improper manipulation of data are patently unethical. Like in your school days or earlier college days, concordant reading we used to have. Chemistry में आपने experiment किया रहेगा ना, titration करते थे, याद है? 3 concordant reading आएगा तो ही हम वो final result देते थे. तो 3 करने की जगह थर्ड वाला नहीं आया, हाँ, तो चौथा करने के लिए जाएंगे तो टाइम लगेगा. तो थर्ड दोनों बार तो 9.8 9.8 आया है, थर्ड वाला को भी 9.2 की जगह 9.8 लिख देते हैं. होता है. This is not good. Whenever we are getting some different result, that may be due to some scientific reason. If we are writing that thing, we may get some new postulate. Okay, so either you repeat that thing or write down that this results is getting different. So don't over correct your things. So this is not ethical. Every effort must be made to ensure that the data are collected and computations performed with complete honesty. Whenever we are doing the data collection, we have to maintain the honesty. And whenever we are doing some computation also, that also we have to maintain that, yes, these are the things we have observed from that particular research. Next is the conflict of interest. In the beginning, we have a little discussed. So researchers shall disclose potential conflict of interest as an author or reviewer of a publication. So during while sending to the publication also, sometimes they ask that who are the reviewer you don't want to choose as a reviewer. Because if somebody is potential conflict of interest to your work, that person you can mention also that particular university professor we have to avoid as a reviewer. You can suggest that thing. So they will scrutinize and they will do the other thing. But in the beginning also, they sometimes they data that who are the preferred authors, preferred reviewers. 4 reviewers normally they ask for. And if you have some reviewer who are having some conflict of interest, that also you can declare there. Okay, so that by mistake the editor will not send up your work to that particular reviewer who will have some conflict of interest with your work. Okay. Similarly, for the reviewer case also, in the beginning I had told that a reviewer case, if my student is also working in that, one example I'll give you that will be more clear at that time. Reviewers of manuscript may find that context of the manuscript have a potential impact on their own research interest. Potential conflicts while reviewing manuscripts should be reported to the journal editor. Failure to disclose may invite charges of ethical misconduct. So during your review process also, if you are getting that there is a possibility of some conflict of interest, you can directly tell that, oh, yeah, I'm not going to review this particular interest because I am feeling that there will be some conflict of interest. Okay, that you can declare. One should agree to a review to be a reviewer or referee to a research paper or thesis or proposal only when within their own domain of competence. So if I'm getting some review request, I have to do that review if only the work is means I can do the justice to the work. Sometimes it happens that I'm getting a review thing, and if I'll deny that, it will give you a little bad impression. So what I'll tell, I'll contact my friend. Yeah, I'm getting this paper. You review and give me, and I'll submit it as my name. So this is all also not correct. So there will be also conflict of interest in that, because the other person also will be third person will be involved, and what will be their equations and all we do may not be knowing. So we should not do that type of other work. If the work is under my competency area only, then only I should agree for the review. Otherwise, I should not review that paper. One should nominate a more capable colleague whenever an assignment is outside his or her area of competence. Like if I'm feeling that I'm not competent enough to review that particular from actually in the beginning, sometimes by reading the abstract we feel that it is exactly matching to my competency, but while reading all the actual paper, sometimes we feel that it is going beyond my things. So in that case we can write to the editor that it is going beyond my capacity, so you can suggest some other person in if you know somebody that this person may be more suitable for this particular reviewing process. Okay, that is possible. You can write to the editor and refuse to review that particular manuscript. So role of an individual as an author of a publication or as a reviewer may also conflict of one's financial, commercial and other interests. Like in the beginning he told that if I am working for the company or not all, you told na, so there will be conflict of interest with that particular industries things. So there is also some examples we'll discuss in the afterwards classes, that how this conflict of interest is very prominent sometimes, basically when the business area. So if I'm working for a company, multinational company, and I'm also working for a research for my PhD and all. So my research finding may have conflict of interest with the financial growth of my company. So my company will have some bad things. So whether to publish that particular research output, if I am publishing, my company is going to have some difficulty. So I may feel that I should fabricate my results, which will enhance the popularity of that my company or something like that. So that there will be a chance of conflict of interest during my research work. So that type of things I have to avoid. Okay. So these are the things about conflict of interest. Researchers should be allowed to potential conflict of interest and make full disclosure. Failure to do so invite charges of ethical misconduct. So whenever you feel that there is a possibility of conflict of interest, you have to tell. Okay, there is nothing wrong in telling that there is a possibility. So there are few guidelines are there if somebody finds that some ethical misconduct happens during a publication. So उस time में क्या करना चाहिए? So a piece of research usually starts with an idea from an individual and actively driven by him or her through others might participate in the interpretation. It is important to recognize the individual who initiates and coordinates the research as the nodal person. So that person can be the corresponding author during the publications. This may also be mentioned उस जर्नल को क्वेश्चन कर सकता है, because if somebody finds that your process is having some error or something, that anytime any person can question the particular publication. Okay, so after a research publication also there is a possibility that correctness of the data can be questioned. Okay, so that's why it is better to be careful in the beginning. Particularly with experimental work, defending a publication requires properly recorded raw data to be produced, and its absence or premature restriction could be treated suspicious. So whenever there will be a somebody has complained against that particular your work to the particular publication house, they can write that give the raw data. We'll verify. So keeping the raw data for a particular period is also that keeping that time period has to be, you can decide, or your institution can be as a means have the particular program. Like normally 3 years is enough for keeping the data. 3 years, or sometimes they tell that 5 years you have to keep the raw data. After 5 years you may means destroy the raw data, because so many raw data will be there na. So at least 3 years you have to keep the all the raw data, because within that period somebody may question your output also. In that case you have to show your raw data also, because during publication sometimes they write that your data are you submitting all your data, or your data will be available on your requirement. So we have to tick either of them. So either you have to submit all the raw data to the particular journal, or you can write down whenever there is a requirement, I will submit the raw data. So without that ticking, it will not go forward. So we are agreeing that if this sometimes required, we will give the raw data also. So that's why lab notebook and that computer things, computerized things, all the things, the raw data keeping is quite important during our research also. So a well-maintained lab book provides not only a permanent record for the results and protocols for the future publications, but also serves as critical evidence for claim of priority in the case of patent applications, etc. So when there is a fraudulent activity, so these things will be quite important, means helpful. Tampering with or manipulating records in a laboratory notebook is considered fraudulent activity. That's why many times they give a numbered notebook while recording the data. You have to put the numbered notebook if you are following. That is a good thing. And if your guide or somebody senior authority will be signing time to time, so that is also considered as a valid document in case of any problem. Thesis writing part I'll discuss in the afterward class. So little more time I can take, na? Huh? Let me see how many. हाँ. ठीक है, तो फिर ठीक है, इतना तक करते हैं. क्लीनिंग ऑफ मैन्युस्क्रिप्ट नेक्स्ट क्लास में करेंगे. ठीक है. ओके. थैंक यू ऑल.